Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Ryan Stick Show. Having some fun. This is a spontaneous live broadcast. We've done this before, of course, with the Psycho Gorman Kickstarter, but today we are discussing Dracula, Visions of Dracula. This is another Kickstarter. Very, very cool. And I'm going to be joined by Martin Slam Duncan very soon. He's just needs to get online. So, in the meantime, before we do that, I just want to, a little hello. It's been a little, it's been a busy month of many projects, and it's been very cool. And I'd just like to thank each and every one of you who has ever looked, liked, shared, or done anything with my dumb face on it. From the bottom of my heart, I appreciate it so very much. Now, to friends and family, if I haven't bothered you relentlessly, I have a brand new YouTube show called Spook Easy Manor that both me and Melissa make, and it's just checking my messages. All right. Anyway, just making sure that our guest is coming. Anyway, Spook Easy Manor. If you want to check that out on YouTube, Melissa and I, that's our passion project. We're all year long. We're going to be putting up spooky content, with some Christmas content. Melissa is very big into Christmas and is currently working on Hutch number 2 of the Christmas episode. So yeah. And also, one of the coolest projects I've ever done in my life or ever been part of is a little thing called the Rockman Power Hour, in which Jason Lee Rockman of Showm FM and Slaves on Dope fame has finally started a podcast in which he can speak to guests in long form. And for years, I got to tell you, I'm Jason's editor, and I've been his editor for many places. I've edited some Showm content for him, some iHeart content, and Jason is the master of really bonding with somebody over a long period. If you give him a 40-minute interview, by the end of it, they're going to walk away like they've been friends for years. And it's really cool to be part of a project where he can actually use those skills, because when he's talking to somebody for like 3 minutes, you have enough time to ask him a question or two, but you can't really have that landing when it comes to that connection that makes podcasts that we know and love so good. So it's really cool that he gets to do that on the Rockman Power Hour. And Guns Blazing came out of the gate. Right away with some stellar guests. He, first of all, Denis Villeneuve, the director of Dune, Rebecca Ferguson, one of the stars of Dune, were in the first episode. And if that wasn't enough, Jason and Bill, both from a little band called Mastodon, maybe you've heard of them, talk about the movie Dune and their lifelong love of it. And it's podcast gold. It really is. And episode 2 is a chat with Nikki Sixx, and episode 3 is a chat with John Taylor of Duran Duran. And it's a damn good program. I'm very proud to be a producer of it. And Jason even brought me into the limelight a little bit. He said, "Hey, I want you to co-host this with me." And I said, "Are you sure? I'm kind of weird looking and I talk a lot. That is not things you want on your show." And he's like, No. I accept you for who you are. These are my words, paraphrasing his, of course. But yeah, just waiting for our guest to come in. And yeah, it's going to be any second now. But in the meantime, I'm going to talk to you about some geek news. Big news is keep spoiling about the new Spider-Man show, and everybody's really Spider-Man movie, and everybody's really excited about it. And people keep saying to me, "Did you see? Did you see? Did you see?" And I'm like, I am effectively putting my thumbs in my ears and putting my head in the sand, and I'm trying to avoid all sorts of spoilers, even trailers. I'm really trying to avoid all of it so I could see this movie fresh as a daisy, because I really back in the day, before the internet, unless you saw a trailer or a commercial on TV, you were seeing every movie fresh. And I kind of like that. It kind of changed the way I would feel and think about movies, having not a preconception if I was going to like or hate them before going into it. In fact, every movie when I was a kid had the potential to be amazing. And recently, just let's talk about the Kickstarter train. I pledged to a Kickstarter of the Psycho Gorman comic book that Lethal Comics is putting on, and really excited about that. I love Psycho Gorman the movie. It is just wonderful. It's like my spirit animal, you could say. And the comic book, I'm looking forward to seeing even more, and the talent behind the comic book, like Andy Belanger, big fan of his. both of his wrestling and his art. And Andy Belanger is also an artist. And so is my buddy Mike Ruth of this book we are going to be talking about today. It is Dracula, Visions of Dracula. And looking really fucking forward to that, man. I love these books. I love the idea with Kickstarter that you could buy something that it will only exist once, possibly only one print, and it's very special, and you could get the special version of it. As somebody who kind of likes the idea of there's not exactly 100,000 billion things of this in the world, and you have that special thing, I kind of enjoy that more, even if my action figure has a flaw or has a tooth missing. I prefer to have it be a little bit more special. So definitely I'm pledging to this book. It's called Visions of Dracula. It's very cool. And we're going to be talking about that not all night. We're going to be talking about a little bit about it because Martin Slam Dumpkin also has things to do. He's broadcasting for the final few hours of it. And the closing party, if you will. So it's going to be great. And even if Martin doesn't end up on the show right now, though I am sure he is, we are going to be. I'm definitely pledging this book. It looks really cool. It is all these artists coming together, drawing with their vision of Dracula. And all these artists, I got to tell you, they're the finest group of sick weirdos I've ever seen because they have some good taste, and they have some, they got some darkness into them that they're applying to that page and stuff like that. So yeah, it's absolutely freaking awesome. It's been a little while since I just rambled on like this. I usually have guests, and by usually I mean, have you seen my interview with Kirk R. Thatcher, the director of Muppets Haunted Mansion? Have you yet? Did you know that I found out too that Kirk R. Thatcher was also the designer of all the dinosaurs on the show Dinosaurs? I did not know that. That was awesome. And it was nice to react to that. We actually, he told me right before we went to tape, and my version of it when we were off the air had a lot more swear words and exasperation in it than the one on the air did. But yeah, he also was the co-writer of Muppet Treasure Island. He was the director of Muppets of Oz. He is the director of, for those of you who like the Christmas movies, A Very Merry Muppet Christmas and Muppet's Letter to Santa. Kirk has also been in Star Trek. Hey, what's going on, dude?
Hey, sorry about that, dude.
Oh, it's all good, dude. I was kind of like exercising muscles I haven't had to use for a while, where it's just like pretend people like you, talk, and
hey,
dude,
our backgrounds match. Check it out.
yeah, we are. You know what? Like, we're pale people, and we probably we come from lands where there's a lot of clouds. So this is like, us representing our heritage.
That's right. That's right. Awesome, man. I
Yeah.
love it when you're stuck like on a left turn for 20 minutes.
Oh yeah, it's called Montreal. It's great.
The best. It's the best.
Yeah.
Toronto too, apparently.
Oh shit. Oh yeah, especially in Toronto. Okay, dude. You want to talk about fucking horror stories? We're going to be talking about Dracula and horror stories. I was on a business trip doing video for some mortgage company, and we were like documenting their weekend, and I'm told it's almost like I Am Legend that if you don't get out of the city by a certain fucking time, like you won't get out of the city.
Yeah,
There's a traffic jam that like literally the city is built wrong, where you're here. You can see right in front of you where you're supposed to go, but there are two giant 5-lane traffic highways intersecting all in the same place, and they all need to get here, and it doesn't make any sense when they can go and when they can start. And we were there for an hour and a half, and I would rather get bitten in the fucking dick by Dracula than ever be in that fucking situation again. I gotta say.
Awesome. I know it's terrible. Oh, well, whatever. We're here.
All good, fuck man. It. We're here. All right, everybody watching right now, the reason why we're all here is to talk about Visions of Dracula. Dude, you messaged me a few weeks ago when I was just drowning in effort on other projects. Okay. And you reminded me yesterday. You're like, by the way, last day is tomorrow. And I'm like, shit, fuck, goddamn, fuck. I'm like, right?
All good, man. All good.
So first of all, pledging. It's the second we stop, I'm pledging. Because not only is this an awesome book, but it's also got so much talent in it. But tell me the story of Visions of Dracula. How did you get involved in this? And how did it become this monster, quite monster Kickstarter? Before you reminded me about it by politely kicking me in the pants yesterday. Tell me
Oh,
all
good.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of call this my COVID baby in a way. So it's one of these things. Like I do an online show similar to yours. I did some podcasts. I had a lot of artists that I've sort of got relationships over the years, and I'm a big collector of art. So anytime I go to like Montreal Comic Con, Toronto Comic Con, I generally get commissions from these artists, and I put them in a book, and they're all themed. And it just occurred to me, it's like this would be really cool to do uh, a themed art book with a whole bunch of different art styles, but based on Dracula. So what we did is we went back. The cool thing is Dracula, the IP of Dracula is public domain, but what I wanted to do is really go back to the sort of the source. So Bram Stoker, who wrote Dracula, his great nephew Dacre Stoker. I reached out to the Dracula estate, and he was the nicest guy. He's doing a forward for the book. If you go on the Kickstarter, which you should right now, you got 2 hours left. You should check it out. He actually does the video. So if you check out the video, it's Dacre Stoker doing the video for the book. So it's super
Nice.
cool. Yeah, so it's got some legitimacy. One of our artists, Kalman Androstovsky, is actually Transylvanian, so even more legitimacy. Yeah,
Yeah, and another artist is Pennsylvanian. It's not quite as
Pennsylvania.
potent.
Close enough. Close enough.
Yeah, that'd be funny though. The Pennsylvanians. That's a good name for a band, kids.
The
I'm old
Pennsylvanians.
and tired, so I won't do it, but you could.
It's
There you
true,
go.
too. It's true.
Big
Something to
thanks to
strive for.
big thanks to the Rockman Power Hour for recording right before this, so my good mic is on. That is Jason Rockman's property, so kudos to check out Rockman Power Hour. Dude, okay, so you assemble the Avengers. You're like you
Yeah.
reach out to people. You're like, I want to draw Dracula, guys, and I've seen some of the artwork on your Kickstarter, and some of your artists, although nice people, are clearly dark, sick bastards underneath.
Uh,
Um,
yeah.
and they're getting to let their freak flag fly.
Yes.
Um, are you, God? You must be so proud that this is coming together. I mean, this is like
From
this. This is beauty. You know what I mean? This is like literally. This is why you buy an art book, because
yeah.
artists like
Yeah.
Andy Belanger, Mike Ruth, these great artists all come together and just to appreciate. Because when you put a coffee book, a table book at a party, no one's gonna fucking read a book. Although some have, I have, if it's good, like Walking Dead. But to just glance at the artwork, I mean, that's
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of like it's almost seems like a sociable thing to do to own a book like this.
Exactly. And obviously, I'm biased, right? But I love the book. I love the art. But I'll tell you honestly, like I'm a horror fan from way back, like way back. You can challenge me on it. I'll pass with flying colors. But there are some things that some of these artists came up with that I have never seen before. So the idea with this book is we weren't looking to recreate Bram Stoker's novel. What we were trying to do is take a lot of little outtakes and like quotes from the book, and then I went to the artist and say, like you said, let your freak flag fly. Do whatever you want. How does that inspire you? Create a piece, and then we're going to throw this book together. And some of them just did things with some very famous quotes that I have never seen done before. Very, very cool stuff.
Do tell with like famous quotes and like giving it just an example of like you know the artist's imagination manifesting into the horror that we're gonna
Yeah.
see.
So, okay. So I'll give you an example. Andy Belanger. So he took the famous quote, enter of your own free will, right? And when you think of that particular quote, at least when I did originally, I think of, the castle, Dracula in front, opening the door, maybe having a little, a lantern or something,
Yeah.
beckoning him in. But Andy Belanger did sort of this sort of Sacrifice. Yeah, if you go a little bit further down, you'll see it. But
Oh,
there's this
sure. Let's do it.
sort of sacrifice piece. If you actually
Guide
go,
guide me.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Just go right down to what we call the Virgin Sacrifice Variant Edition, which we
Well,
just recently unlocked.
we could
Yeah.
just see. I mean, this is just really cool stuff.
Oh, we got all the things. So a couple more down, more down, more down, more down. There's just so much
Oh,
here.
wow, look at that.
Yes, that's Mr. Casey Parsons. Yeah, Tony Moy. See, very different styles. Really cool.
Okay,
Some of them
that's
went.
really cool. Vlad the Impaler. Yeah.
Some of them went more historically based. Some of them went literal. Some of them went just right. There it is, right there. Yeah.
Oh, that looks like a ghost cover. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Eh?
yeah.
I love Ghost. But if you go down, we actually are providing that because people went crazy for that one.
Yeah.
We're doing its own like special
Great
edition.
deals too. I
Yeah.
mean, look at this.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the kind of deals people get here.
Yeah, yeah. So we wanted, from like people who just want to dip their toe to the ballers, right?
Yeah.
So
I
people
well,
are like the crazy
I want to be
Dracula.
balls.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
yeah.
So if you're ballers, we have the tier for you. If you want to dip your toe, see what this is all about, we have lots of things. So we got from like PDFs. We have 3 softcover versions of the book. So um, we have Mr. Gorham, who's
Okay.
doing the regular cover from Marvel.
Right.
And then what we did is when he originally did his piece, it was in black and white. And it was so stunning. We're like, oh man, maybe we should do the cover in black and white. And we're like, oh, you know what? Let's just do 2 covers. So,
Okay.
so we got the regular color cover, we got the black and white cover. You see the hardcover there you have on. That's by Eisner winner Ramon Perez
Okay.
from Marvel as well. He just unleashed that on us. And if you have a cool little look at it, you could see different influences in those little boxes of different versions of Dracula. So if you look
Very
at
cool.
like the bottom right one, it's I won't say exactly, but it looks like a Muppet that is really fond of math.
Okay.
Anyway, um,
And then we
but
got the
yeah,
Virgin
we
Sacrifice
got a
variant
Virgin
physical
Sacrifice
edition.
one. So that's Andy Belanger, of course.
Oh, God, Andy.
Who just came off a great Kickstarter himself with Psycho Gorman.
I did pledge to Psycho Gorman. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, the T-shirt. So Katie Sawatsky. This was actually really cool.
Yeah.
Working with a number of artists. I don't know what I was thinking as my first book. Yeah, just bring on like 30 artists. Yeah, why not? Um, but working with a number of artists, they actually sort of bounce a lot of stuff off each other. So I was just constantly, having these conversations, and Katie brought out this really cool, again, more interpretive piece.
Yeah.
And Eric Vetter, who it works in video games, Night Stalkers, and things like that, he said, "You know what? That would make a kick-ass T-shirt." Can I swear on this show?
Oh, dude, you have no fucking idea how much I was
Oh,
swearing before we
fucking
got
awesome.
here.
Okay, good,
Yeah,
good,
yeah.
good. Yeah, so
I don't
it was
feel right
really
not swearing. I feel like I'm like, I feel like I have wings and I'm not
I thought I
using
would
them.
check. I don't know, man.
Yeah, yeah.
I anyway, we'll get it. I did a panel at Fan Expo and it was so hard. Anyway, so we had this awesome thing, and he's like, you know what, that would make a kick-ass T-shirt. We got these guys that do silk screens, so
Oh,
like
nice.
every color is like a screen.
Yeah.
And it's got like 4 colors on it, so it worked out beautifully. So he's like, all right, I guess we're offering shirts too. So so that was kick-ass too. So we got shirts, we got the PDF, we got the soft cover, we got the hardcover. um I brought on a 3D artist. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so what we did is we had a couple of art pieces, and we said, "Hey, make 3D models of these, and we're gonna resin print them out, and I'm gonna hand paint them, and we're gonna offer them again as standalones, or again, we have a all-encompassing, fantastic deluxe edition where you get everything, including both both statues, everything
Yeah.
as well." And then we
Oh,
have like,
statues. Wow.
yeah, there's mini statues, which are really cool. I'm wondering if I have one right here. Do 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 do. Check it out. Yeah, so we
Get
have
a little close up of you
this
there.
little this little Dracula dude based on one of the art pieces from Sam Agro.
Okay, which tier is that? How which
So you could get this as a standalone. Again, very sort of limited, and I'm hand painting all of them. So you could get this as a standalone, or on the Fantastic one, you get basically everything in the kitchen sink,
fantastic.
the Fantastic, and you get this as well as another statue that we put together as well.
I like it, man.
Yeah, man. So it's got kind of something for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, and how did okay, here we
Oh,
go.
that's
Yeah.
the other one. Yeah. So this one here, which is super cool, like the art piece that Becca Kinsey put together was basically Mina and then Dracula biting her neck, and then you see the two heads on the side, which is like Mina's inner anguish of getting bitten, but it's happening within her head, and she somehow was able to capture it in a 3D bust, and even the smoke, she'd sort of did this little swirl thing. It was
Yeah,
super
yeah.
cool, super cool. Yeah.
Wow, man.
Yeah, man, we thought of a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and you must have been promoting this, like, promoting the crap out of all this private yeah, you know
Dude.
what, man? Sometimes private messaging, like, it almost makes you it reminds me about being a teenager in a band, being trying to sell them my demo tape, but at the same time, sometimes it's the only way to cut through the algorithm and stuff like that because people
You
want
know
you to
what?
pay for advertising all the
You
time.
you're right,
Yeah,
and I thought this would kinda be up your alley too, because I know you're
it
into this
is.
kinda stuff, so I was like, "Hey, you know what? Maybe Ryan's gonna wanna see what this is all about." But yeah, like I said, 2 hours left, but we got our funding about just over a week in, and,
Nice, dude.
yeah,
Awesome.
so we're funded, but, as we go, we're like today, we just unlocked a few prints. We just unlocked another print from Daniel Govar. That one where you
Nice.
say that historical one, we
Yeah,
just
yeah.
locked that as a free print. So anybody that has a physical tier will get that for free. And the next one, we're doing that other one, that sort of
Mhm.
creepy Dracula over the sleeping guy one. Like if you go all the way to the top.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll remember that on my
Remember that
dreams.
one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that one
Okay,
print
so that's the
there
historical one.
has just been released. If
Yeah.
we get to the next 500, which I think we're only 200 bucks away, you'll be getting this as also another freebie print as
Yeah,
well.
it's amazing the
Yeah.
likeness you capture Bill Cosby. It's, like,
It's
incredible,
you know
just
what? It
yeah,
was like if he was
yeah.
looking in a mirror.
Well, he wanted to see his own reflection, but, yeah.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, yeah. No, but that's wild, man. Like, this is, like this is insane. This is, like I was kind of a wasn't a total teenage goth, but definitely,
Yeah.
Nine Inch Nails and makeup were my bag, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
it's
awesome.
really this is rad, man. This is super cool, and like it's kind of crazy how an idea you can have manifested and actually you put it into the world. Like many people would just let their procrastinations prevent them from this, but you willed this into the world.
It's true, and it's
Yeah.
funny. When I started, of course, like this is my first book. Now, people knew me just from doing interviews and things like that, and I said, "Listen, I want to do this." But I completely get it when you're going out in the world and saying, "Hey, I've got this idea. I want you on board." I'm sure there's a lot of people that are like, is this thing really going to happen or not? So I got, a lot of the closer people that I knew originally to come in and say, yeah, let's do this thing. But as it started snowballing,
Hmm.
it almost became like, instead of me going to artists were kind of coming and saying, hey, I heard about this Dracula project that you're doing. I'd be into it.
Yeah.
And like that blew my mind, right? I'm just like, you're coming to me, right? Like you work for Marvel, dude, or you work for DC, and you're coming to me. And yeah.
Anytime anybody wants to be on my show without me asking them, I immediately assume I'm being catfished. So I had to like be
That's
like, is
right.
this actually Martin? Is
Yeah,
this,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. No, I hear you, man. And I was
yeah.
I was the same way with this thing. I was like, cool. Um, so yeah, that's basically how it worked out. And then by the end, we were doing a gallery show. So I'm from Toronto, and in Toronto, I don't know if you're aware of the Raid Studios, if you're familiar with them.
I'm familiar
Um,
with exactly 4 blocks, and it's if my band played there, I know it. That's it. and
Fair enough.
apparently, yeah. So unless you live in the bovine sex club, I don't know.
No, that was my 20s, man.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no. So the Raid Studios is essentially an artist studio in Toronto. All the very big artists sort of come out of there, and then again they have this little commune where they kick off ideas with each other, and they have a place to work, etc. Um, a lot of the artists on this project come from the Raid Studios. So what we decided to do in October is to have this cool little Dracula gallery with all of the original pieces up on the wall. We had this
Nice.
kick-ass party. I have stories from that, but maybe we'll keep that off air. But we had this kick-ass party where we had a lot of the artists. It was the same weekend as Fan Expo in Toronto. So we had a bunch of the artists, from that show. We invited all the artists from that show to come out, and you could actually go there right now, and all the original pieces are up on the wall in that gallery. You could check them out. You could buy the original pieces from the artists, and you could also get prints of all these original pieces as well, if you want those. So go check that out. The Raid Studios. It's the Royal Academy of Illustration and Design.
Wow.
There you
Awesome,
go.
buddy. Yeah.
It's been a hectic few months, man.
I know, but you're a gunslinger when it comes to self-promotion now. You're
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
you got it down to a science.
It's like I know what I like in terms of art.
Yeah.
But obviously that's not my forte. But I do enjoy, anytime I could get in front of a camera, I'm there. You know what I mean? So I'll jump on the camera anytime, man.
There you
Or
go.
if
There.
anybody's willing to listen, have me on, dude. We should do another show. You should come on to my show.
Fuck yeah, man.
We'll talk.
I'm
We'll
sick.
talk.
I'm
We'll
always
talk.
like,
We'll talk horror. We'll talk whatever, man. I'm into all that stuff.
yeah, man. I'm like sick of fucking, baiting people into my show like the fucking witch in Hansel and Gretel, like bait. Like, come on, kids. Don't you want to be on my show? Can I
We
fucking interview you?
we have
Yeah.
candy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man.
No, it's great, and it's amazing how the internet can connect everybody in the world as much as it can really divide people. It's really cool how people with common interests can all come together, and it's really cool that Kickstarter exists because all those artists probably never get asked to draw Dracula. You know?
That's the truth, man.
Yeah.
I said, like I said, near the end where people
Mm.
realized, hey, this is a real, tangible thing that's happening. They're like, yeah, I got this vision of Dracula, or this scene that I always wanted to get out, on paper. And we made it happen. Again, super stunned that this came from just concept to reality within a year. And I'm hooked, man. I'm hoping there'll be more. I have other ideas, so
Awesome.
we might make this an annual thing. Yeah.
All right, everybody. So if you want to make history right now and you want to buy that unique thing that's going to exist in the world because of this gentleman right here, go to the link in the description and go pledge, motherfuckers. Come on.
Do this.
Do it. What are you going to spend your money? I guarantee you have spent more money on bullshit in the last 2 fucking weeks that you can't hold in your arms, that was done with this much devotion and adoration that these artists and Martin here has put into it.
That's right. And I mean, you've seen the lineup, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how we got these folks in. You know what? I think I know how. I think it's the subject. Honestly, I think it's
who
the
bit
subject.
first. I gotta know.
Well, like I said, I approached a bunch of folks. So one of the first, I would say, a couple of the first folks that I asked was Shane Heron, which is a good friend of mine. Mike Ruth is someone that Mike Ruth. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
First of all, he's like, both of them are incredible artists.
Just to say, everybody, I produce auctions for Montreal and Ottawa and sometimes Winnipeg Comic Con.
Yes.
And Mike would be an artist that would come and he would draw live, and then somebody would inevitably buy his piece at the end of the night. Usually a gentleman named Eric Perret. And
yes, he does it for mine
and
as
Mike and Andy's been on. but dude, Andy's been on, and a few other artists, and they've all done amazing. But
Hmm.
man, Mike brought it so hard. Like Mike came with a game plan.
Yeah,
He had it
yeah,
envisioned in his head. And
yeah.
the stuff he was able to produce in such a short amount of time is
Unbelievable.
nothing but fucking spectacular. Like really big detailed pieces with multiple characters. Like his last Ronin piece he drew was just fucking
Oh,
insane.
gorgeous
Anyway,
piece. I know
all right,
exactly
but
what you're
please
talking about.
continue. So, let's
Yeah.
kiss Mike Ruth's ass.
So
Yeah.
so Mike Ruth, yeah, all day long. Yeah, so Mike Ruth was the first, but and funny, and then Mike brought in a couple of guys, a couple of amazing painters. Tony Moy, an
Mm,
amazing painter,
yeah.
and Daniel Govar. Just and they just again blew me away. I did not know them before this project, but
Okay.
I knew them after. And that's the sort of thing. Like I would bring on someone, and then they would bring, hey, I got this other person who might be interested, right? And unbelievable. One of the ones that I was courting for a while
Mm,
is Gerhard. I don't know if you're
okay.
familiar with Gerhard. He did Cerebus, but
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
he's really known for his sort of backdrops and backgrounds and his amazing detail.
Yeah.
And for me, I was like, I want a kick-ass Dracula castle piece, right? And
Yeah. Fuck
he
yeah,
is my
man.
guy. I'm like, so same idea. We were going back and forth for a while, and he's like, "Who is this?" I'm like, "Yeah, we talked, and oh yeah, oh I remember you." And he's like, "You want? Can you want to be on my book?" He's like, "Yeah," and he's like, and then he came up with a few ideas, and I'm like, "How about the castle?" And he's like, "Oh, the castle." So yeah, so we got him on to do that. Ron Sutton was
Oh
another
yeah,
one who,
Ron Son. Yeah. Yeah.
Ron Sutton. Yeah, he did
Yeah.
Elvira, things like that. So he was a natural to be on this. Jeffree Sherwood,
Oh
who's
yeah,
also he's.
Jeff.
I got
Yeah.
Jeffree Sherwood on here, who's known for Doctor Strange and Conan and things like that, and he just actually did an awesome job. Adam Gorham, of course, he did the cover. Um, Kalman Androsovsky, who's also from Marvel, NYX, Captain Canuck, things like that.
Yeah.
Um, Ho Chi Anderson was someone that I know of, but I didn't know at the time, and he was also sort of, I guess, a referral. And he just got put on the Luke Cage comic recently, so I was
Really?
lucky to sort of catch him in between his last project and this project. But I could go on and on. There's just so many very cool artists. Chris Campano's he's actually one of my early ones because he's like a friend of mine from Jersey.
Okay.
I knew he would kill it, and he's got a cool like he's really into like the old He-Man stuff and fantasy stuff. So he's got a very different take than like the horror heads, right? Like the horror heads are all blood and gore and stuff, and his is like, oh, I'm gonna do like a Knight Templar with Dracula in the background and stuff like that. So it's
I like it,
you're gonna see
man.
stuff all over the place, but it's really
Yeah, a
cool.
lot of variety.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, cool. So this is a straight up art book, correct? There's no like we didn't ask Mike Ruth to write a mini story or anything like that.
No.
It's a
So what you're gonna get, and we decided to go hardcover too, even though it costs more. I wanted to go hardcover. Um,
I think I'm pledging for the hardcover, man. I think
yeah,
I need the full experience because if it's not
yeah,
hardcover, I'm gonna ruin it somehow. So
yeah. It's gonna
yeah.
look cool. Plus, if we keep going, you might have one next to that next year. Um, but yeah, we went with hardcover just because I like hardcovers too, right? It's cool, but I know that everybody, they might not necessarily want to jump in and get the hardcover right away. They might be new to this, new to these artists, that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
they could get. One thing I do want to mention, I know
Hmm.
I like Babel, but one thing I do want to
That's
mention is
why you're
actually.
here.
Blah, 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 blah. They're all oversized, so they're all like the size of a magazine too. They're
Nice. I
not
love
they're
that.
not
Yeah.
small because we wanted to focus really on the art.
Hmm.
And in order to do that, you're essentially going to get, so on the left panel, you're going to have who the artist is, what quote inspired the art piece, stuff about the art piece, such as like, is it acrylic painted, watercolors, what the medium is, digital,
Yeah.
what have you. And then the right is just going to be the art piece. Nothing on that page but the art piece. So potentially you could literally, I'm not saying you should do this, but you could literally cut it out of there and throw it on your wall. It's going to be a really cool piece.
Yeah. I mean, it's essentially a book of prints, and sometimes prints at Comic Cons can go for like $30 each,
True.
15, thirty
Yeah,
dollars
that's
each.
true.
So how many artists are in there, and how many
You
pages?
have 27, 28 artists.
Yeah, 28 artists.
Yeah,
Picture that, $15 a piece, and
yeah, 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 yeah.
you're questioning if you should buy this book at this price right now.
Yeah,
Makes no
like
fucking
the book,
sense.
like the book itself. Like if you just want the regular cover, regular book, it's $20.
There we go.
You know, it's less than a one print.
Yeah, there we
When you
go.
think about it. Yeah,
That's how you should have sold it, man. Be like,
yeah,
Math is upset that you haven't jumped on this earlier, people. Like that's what
yeah.
it is. Yeah.
That's right. I like that.
Don't piss off Math.
Yeah, so like
Mm.
and with as we're unlocking stuff, you're gonna get other
Yeah.
goodies in there. We're gonna throw in some prints for you. We have this super cool idea for a magnet that we want to do. With if we hit a certain number, which we're getting close to,
Okay.
any physical option that you pick, you'll be getting all those sort of add-in bonuses just thrown in there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
As
Yep.
you said all this, I was like literally getting a phone call from what I can only assume is a fake telemarketer number. Because I'm like, it's
Do they have one of your
it's
packages at the
6:40
border?
fucking yeah, exactly. Oh, my or
How are
my
your ducks?
social insurance number has been used for crime, and if I don't give it
Oh,
right now, I'll get arrested.
dude, get on that, man.
Dude, seriously, the last 2 years, the human race has shown more fucking evil than Dracula ever could. I picture Dracula getting up, just seeing what happened at a rap concert these days, and just fucking go back to sleep in disgust.
I tell
Like,
you, right?
fuck you, humans. You're not worth
Dracula's like,
You're not worth drinking.
I'm going back to
Dracula's just
sleep.
gonna read social media for 5 minutes and just be like, fuck
This,
this.
this is bullshit.
Yeah,
What kind of bullshit is
yeah,
this? Yeah, yeah, for sure,
good
man.
times, man.
Are you a
Yeah.
Dracula fan? Just
Oh,
curious. Now I'm
big
gonna ask you
time.
some questions, dude.
Sure, let's do this right now.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I know you have a broadcast to get to rather
yeah,
soon
yeah,
because
yeah.
you have
That's fair.
the two. But yes, no, I am a Dracula fan, and what I really appreciated about the movie Dracula Dead and Loving It that Mel Brooks made is that he, like Men in Tights, used the Bela Lugosi and the recent Gary Oldman as kind of
Yes,
as kind of like the blueprint of the parodies he would do. And I
that's
thought that was
awesome.
really cool that Mel Brooks used, like, the Errol Flynn and the Kevin Costner one. So he went really modern, then the ultimate classic. So
That's
my
genius.
knowledge of Dracula, because of that parody, was so strong that by the time I saw the Gary Oldman one, because I was a kid, so when I
Yeah,
saw the Gary Oldman one, I was just laughing unintentionally through the whole thing because I thought his hair, because of
it's like, is this a
the
real
parody,
thing?
was hilarious. Yes, exactly. And
That.
it's
Oh
yeah.
my god, that's
Yeah,
funny.
so my favorite Dracula movie is Dracula Dead and Loving It. But
That's a
no,
good one, man.
of
That's a
course I
good
love
one.
them all. Yeah.
It's actually funny you say that because I grew
Mm.
up with Mad Magazine.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm a little bit older than you, but I grew up with Mad Magazine, and in Mad
You might not be
Magazine,
that much older. How old are you?
at 51.
Oh, you are a little older. But you know what? You
You're
look
older.
great. You
Oh
look
my
great for
god.
your age.
Yeah, no,
But
I'm
I'm
just like a kid, but
but I'm 38 in April, so like,
yeah,
don't think I'm like
it's all
sperm
good.
with hair either, okay? I'm like, I'm pretty old myself. Yeah.
But so I
Mm.
grew up with the Mad magazines, and they did parodies in there. And often I would, again, when I was younger,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to see these restricted movies, so I would read the parodies in Mad magazine. And finally, when I would see the movie itself, same
Yeah.
idea. I'd be like, oh, there's the scene where so and so, and just
Yeah.
laugh at the most inappropriate times.
That actually happened to
Yeah.
me with Menace to Society, and
Oh
don't
shit.
be a menace to society while drinking your juice in the hood.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I was talking to a kid in grade 6, and he was talking about Menace to Society, and I was talking about the parody, and he did not appreciate how hilarious I thought the ending was. Because the ending of Menace to Society is
Yeah,
super, super serious, super
yeah, yeah,
sad.
yeah. Of course.
Yeah, but okay. Another thing about Dracula I just want to mention is I bought this really cool DVD set of all the Universal monsters a few years back. Now they're worth a lot of fucking
Yes.
money, and it's the
Yes.
only time that's ever happened where I bought a bunch of DVD sets. And it turns out now that DVDs are extinct, uh,
Yeah. No,
They
you can
go a long
retire,
way.
man. You're good.
But they show you every Dracula movie, related Dracula movie that Universal ever made, including House of Dracula, House of Frankenstein, all movies, Dracula's Daughter, movies I normally would not have seen unless it was in this collection. And it's really cool because that legendary version of Dracula that was shot at nighttime, the
Yep.
Spanish version, which
Yes.
is arguably a better production. It was really cool to finally be able to see that because out of all the documentaries and stuff, you know what, the thing about the Universal monster movies, it's kind of like wrestling. I like seeing highlights and hearing stories about the behind the scenes as
Yeah.
opposed to watching the Universal monster movies front to back because they drag a little.
They
They
do. I'm
do.
going through them
Yeah,
myself right now. It's funny you said that. I just saw The
yeah,
Mummy and Creature from the Black Lagoon. But
that's
you're
a good
right.
one.
I
Yeah,
I remember I remember, I guess, certain shots and certain
yeah,
scenes. Um, but the films, like, back front to back,
yeah,
you're right. There is, like, this little in between part that I could do without.
yeah,
But they are genius. Like, they're just things that are burned into my head, right? It's like the Harryhausen films, right? The Sinbad films and all those kind of things. Like, same
yeah.
idea, right? I just, I love the big scene with the monsters and the stuff, but everything in between is, I could, I'll go to the bathroom break, whatever.
Well, that's why I like Dracula Dead and loving it because I find there's no shitty scenes. I'm
No.
like all the character development is all great. It's all funny, and it's funny. It's the last movie Mel Brooks ever made, and could be probably seemed as this big failure from all his fans from the '70s. But being like fucking 9, I was like, yeah, fucking bring it on. There's clean. He's like, "What are you doing to the furniture?" Like all those fucking jokes. It's just awesome. And recently, and unfortunately, saw a family tragedy happen the day after, but the night before, and I haven't seen the film since because I kind of link it to like
Yeah, yeah,
bad
yeah,
mojo. But the only time I ever saw the first Christopher Lee Dracula movie was the night before tragedy. But I do gotta say, like, considering the Hammer films were made in the 1950s, which was only less than 20 years removed from the first Dracula movie, they had fucking balls. Like
yeah,
Dracula's
yeah. Well,
face
some of them came out in the
melts.
'70s, I think. Some of them were a little
Some of
later.
them,
Yeah,
some
yeah,
of them, some of them. But I
yeah.
think the first Christopher Lee movie was much earlier, like in the 60s.
I think it's in the '60s. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, early
Oh
60s.
yeah, there was a lot of blood and
Yeah,
nudity and stuff like that. I yeah, I would say those are actually some of the first ones that I saw.
okay.
Um, Other than like the Bela Lugosi one. Um, yeah, they're a huge departure, which is cool, right? You could go to the Universal route, you could go to the Hammer route. Um, but yeah, really cool. Very different takes on it. Um,
Looking up the
yeah,
date of the first Dracula movie now with Christopher Lee. Now I'm fucking curious.
60s,
'Cause I'm
man, 60s, late 60s. I'm gonna say.
up 50 fucking 6, man. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
56.
you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
That's actually even more impressive.
Isn't it? His
Yeah,
fucking they stab him, his face melts.
yeah,
Like at the end of Evil Dead. Like,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you look at the first one, all the violence in the first Dracula movie is very suggestive and very slow. So you got to kind of
Right.
put your imagination in there, which is good in a way. But iconic imagery is iconic imagery, and everything that comes after the Bella movie. I just like, it's kind of funny. Like you hear about how Dracula was a shit production and nobody had fun on it, and just Bella is like the shining light of that
Mm-hmm.
film. Like that's what
Yeah.
really stands out as Bela Lugosi's performance. That's why he was so iconic in Dracula, and of course Frankenstein. James Whale is a genius, and between that and Bride of Frankenstein, like
Oh,
like he
love
was a
those
little bit
films.
more clever with it.
Yeah.
He saw the absurdity, celebrated it, and stuff. I'm really looking forward. And my girlfriend and I, we love the look of Universal monsters. We love castles. We like it when vampires aren't just sexy fucking people made for teens. Even though
Yeah.
Dracula's a fetching gentleman, he's not
Eh,
perpetually 16 either.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He's
I,
like in the book he's very different than those films, right? He's an older guy. They actually go into like he's got like this awesome mustache. I think it's awesome because mustaches are. He's got this really cool mustache. He's all in black, so it's not like this knightly person that you see with the Bela Lugosi. That was a very different take than what you get in the original novel.
Yeah, that was based on a stage play in which Bela Lugosi was
Right.
actually in too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would say like the Gary Oldman was a little closer, although again that was a very different take as well. But it's a little closer to what Dracula, the Bram Stoker novel is, because he
Hmm.
wasn't, he wasn't this handsome guy, But one of
Yeah.
my favorite. Sorry, you were gonna say something about castles and
Oh, right. No, we.
vampires and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I thought the movie Dracula Untold sucks balls, but
I didn't even
I
watch it yet.
I wanted to like it. It's the same thing
Yeah.
with the Wolfman that Rick Baker did the makeup on. Like it was like it's fucking aesthetically, it's cool. Like you see all the scenes, you see him running, you're like, fuck, this is awesome. But then when it comes to the acting,
Oh,
the plot,
Benicio, that one.
yeah. Then when it comes to
Actually,
the
I didn't mind
acting,
that one too much. It was okay.
okay, maybe it'll grow on me like hair eventually.
Maybe,
But
maybe.
I was just watching. I'm just kind of like, I don't give a fuck about anybody in this movie.
That's a
But I'm,
problem
but I,
with movies. Yeah.
yeah, but I did
You
like
know.
how they really took the period piece and stuff, and just I don't know, man. I'm looking like I'm a big Monster Squad fan. I'm looking for
Mm,
another movie that celebrates the old guard of monsters, like the classic, straight out of a classic film monsters, and they could come into the modern time or whatever. But I
yeah.
just it for the last 15, 20 years, it's only been young, sexy monsters. And I'm just kind of like, it would be
Yeah.
really cool. And they tried with Dracula Untold, and like I'm saying, but they just missed the mark. Like there's just something about it that is missing. What do you think would be the ideal perfect Dracula movie now?
There's I would say there's been a few. I won't. They're not Dracula films. Um, I don't know if you're. Yeah, you probably are. Near Dark was one that I really liked.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
30
the one
30
that that's
Days
the
of
one
Night. 30
that's
Days
the
of
one
Night.
that's forgotten because it came out at the same time as the Lost Boys, right? So it's like Near Dark or
Yeah,
Lost Boys. Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I thought Near Dark was pretty cool.
Mm,
Sort of a vampire western. But also 30 Days of Night to me sort of brought back the monster in the vampire,
mm.
which I could appreciate. Now there is a movie coming out, um, and I don't know how familiar you are with the book, but my favorite part of the novel is when Dracula gets on the ship, the Demeter. So the Demeter, he's basically
Oh my
going
god, are you talking about that movie that's gonna come out about that journey?
about the journey. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's my
yeah,
favorite part of the book where Dracula gets on. He's taking his journey to London. So all the with Harker, he's brokered the whole deal, the real estate deal, which is funny that Dracula is a real estate movie, but he brokered the real estate deal. He's going to London, and it's all different ship logs, right, that you're reading through, and night by night, each of these folks on the ship disappear, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
Dracula packs some lunches to go, right? So he kills off all these folks, and then as it hits, it's this great iconic scene of the ship captain who lashed himself to the wheel, and he's got this rosary around him. um, anyway, like you said, there's some film that's supposed to be coming out that's
yeah,
just that scene. I think that's going to be really cool. That
yeah.
can be really cool.
Yeah, David
Yeah.
Dismalch, and I heard him on a
Yeah.
podcast. I'm a big fan of David Dismalch, and he's a character actor that's been in a bunch of stuff. Recently, Dune. He was Polka Dot Man in the Suicide Squad movie.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah, he's amazing, and he wanted to produce that project and get that project made. And when he brought it to the studio, they're like, "Yeah, we're already making that." He's like, "Oh, can I try out?" They're like, "Ah, we don't really have anything for you."
Oh,
But then eventually they offer him this thing that's really out of his wheelhouse. I believe he's playing a Welshman, and lo and behold, he got the role, and he's so excited, and they're currently working on that. And I think that's amazing because it's like Alien, but on a boat, or the
yeah,
Texas
yeah,
Chainsaw Massacre, like being
yeah.
picked off one by one by this
There, there's
unknown horror in the
so
dark.
many ways they could go
Yeah,
about that, right?
yeah,
Because even in the book, it's not as descriptive. It's more like I said, logs. So they could even play it like you said, as we don't even see the monster until near the end, or we play it like Jaws, or it's a very visceral thing. We don't know. Like, I don't know what it's going to look like, but it's something that I'm looking forward to.
I'm wondering how they'll play Dracula as just a dude on a boat hanging out, because clearly he might. I don't know. I don't know if he wants to make himself as a present, because if somebody was on the boat, he would
Right.
need a bed and someone
Yeah.
would check on the bed. So if he like literally they just think he's luggage, that probably would be a little better. But maybe in the third act he'll reveal
Right.
himself
Exactly.
just a bit. Yeah.
It might be just a force of nature, right? For most of the movie, and
Or he
then
pretends he's fucked up and he's scared and hiding in the corner
there
like
you
in
go.
Saw, like in
You're like,
Saw.
ah.
He's there the whole fucking time.
That's true. Yeah, maybe he's one of the people on the boat, right? Yeah, that'd be a cool way. We should write
Yeah.
this. Ryan, let's get on this, man.
Let's do it.
We're not gonna do this. We're not gonna do this.
No. Hey, what's up? Renee Kokolo's in the chat. What's going on, dude?
Hey,
How's it going, man?
Renee, what's going on, man?
All right. So yeah, dude, you gotta get to your broadcast. You have 3 minutes.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
anyway, yeah. Thanks for having me on, man.
Fuck yeah,
I
dude. This was
appreciate.
fucking awesome.
We'll do some other ones hopefully in the future. For folks that are watching, get on the just go to Kickstarter, Dracula Visions, and like I said, any level. This is not only helping me, and I have a lot more ideas for other ones that are coming out. But it's also a way to give back to a lot of these artists. Like COVID hasn't been too kind to a lot of folks. They haven't had those Comic Cons where they're making money and stuff like that. So uh, Renee is hilarious.
That he
So they,
is.
yeah. So it's a cool way, to also help them out as well. So
Absolutely. Helping
yeah,
artists is what it's all about. The price you cannot deny. When you think of a cost of a print, you're essentially getting 28 fucking prints and
yeah,
to boot.
yeah.
So I'm pledging. I'm getting a hardcover because
Appreciate it.
I like me some fancy shit and I like the loading that I
All
own it.
right.
Yeah.
All right. Buy it all, man. Buy it all. A lot of cool shit.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching Ryan Stick Show.
All right.
Support local art. We're going to be back on our
Cheers.
Kickstarter next week. All right, take it easy.
Later.
Bye.